Welcome to the Progress Report, a program where we highlight the investment climate here in Guyana. In this episode, we speak with owner of the New Haven Merchant Bank, Floyd Haynes.
I think Guyana's investment climate is one of the best in the world today for several reasons. Guyana has been growing exponentially ever since oil has been discovered in the Atlantic Basin in 2015. You read every day in the papers that production is increasing, more wells are being discovered. The government just had an auction bid round where they're awarded several oil blocks. All of this will increase the oil find and will increase production, and it will increase the quantity of oil that the country has, or certainly the reserves. What this means is that it will increase the growth of the country. Guyana is growing not by my measure, by the World Bank, by OPEC. The country is growing by between 35 and 40% per year. This is expected to continue for the foreseeable future. This is phenomenal growth. Production is expected to be at 1.2 million barrels per day by 2027. Think about what that means for a country with less than 1 million people. In theory, every Guyanese can have his or her a barrel every day of oil, right? But I said all that to say that the country is ripe for investment. You have a friendly government. You have a government that's prepared to offer incentives for investors. And you have a country that's growing exponentially. When you bring those things together, you have an opportunity where Guyana is probably one of the best investment destinations in the world currently. Well, clearly, oil and gas is at the top of that list. But leaving that aside, because I think the president, and rightfully so, is pushing Guyana and Guyanese and investors coming in to expand in other industries. You don't want to have an economy where everything is focused on oil and gas. That's what contributes to what is known as the Dutch disease, where labor, capital, and everything flows out of your other industries into oil and gas, and it depresses the other industries. So that's not a good scenario. So other industries and most or all of these industries will be somewhat of an offshoot or an extension or an ancillary to oil and gas. So real estate, for example, as the country grows, more people are coming in, companies are coming in, people have to have a place to live. So whether it's apartment buildings, houses, that's on the private side. On the commercial side, there is office buildings, warehousing facilities, bond, those types of things. So the real estate is huge. It is on the upswing now. It has been for quite some time. Now, at some point, the market will arbitrage. And because right now the prices probably are a little high. At some point, the market will reach an equilibrium where the prices will stabilize. Some people may argue that's already happened and it's kind of late in the game, but I don't think so. Like I said, more companies are coming, which means companies are bringing employees, more people are coming, and the demand for housing and office buildings and warehousing facilities will continue to increase. So that's a good investment. Agriculture and fisheries, again, the Caribbean imports, millions upon millions, tens of millions of food every year. What if we could begin to produce some of those foods here? So I would say agriculture, agro-processing is something the president has been pushing for quite some time. Large-scale farming, we've got 83,000 square miles of land, of which 70 to 75% of it is not being used. So there's opportunities to do that as well. And you don't have to, and these are industries, particularly in the agriculture and fisheries, there is a huge export market for those types of things. So your market is not just constrained to Guyana with 800,000 people. You've got all of the Caribbean, you've got South America, you even have North America and Europe, right? If you can get those types of things going well here, there's a huge export market. Infrastructure, bridges, roads, power generation, airports, all of it. As you know, we, prior to the discovery of oil, we had nothing in terms of proper infrastructure. We're several years up from oil, and so we're still developing an infrastructure. So there's always going to be opportunities for companies to invest in the infrastructure and support the development and the transformation. And I think the government will offer incentives to do those types of things. So that's another area. Yeah, so we signed a memorandum of understanding with Afreximbank earlier in the year. A memorandum of understanding, it's just a basic understanding between the two parties that they will collaborate and they will work together in certain areas. Those areas were defined in the MOU. And this is pursuant to Afreximbank deciding that they wanted to expand their role beyond the continent, beyond the African continent. They were invited by Prime Minister Motley to set up shop in Barbados. So I think they have a regional office in Barbados. And so their goal was that, listen, we wanted to be able to help businesses, not just that are doing in Africa, but that there's a lot of collaboration, or to promote collaboration between Africa and the diaspora. And so that was the impetus for them coming to the Caribbean. Now, once they decided to do that, I was introduced to them through a mutual colleague. I met them. In fact, the representatives from Afreximbank came to Guyana, met with Go Invest, met with some of the locals. They were referred to me. We met right here in this office downstairs. And that began a conversation which developed into a memorandum of understanding. So that was the first phase of the agreement between the two entities. Subsequent to that, when Afrexim held their investment conference in Guyana this year, about a month ago or so, we had been talking about putting in place a facility, we as in the New Haven Merchant Bank, and we'd been talking to Afreximbank, and we came to an agreement which was announced at that conference that they will provide us a facility, a $15 million to New Haven Bank, which we can then on-lend to local businesses in Guyana. So that was them going one step further. It's one thing to have an MOU, which is a broad agreement that essentially says we'll collaborate, we'll work together. It's another thing to take that one step further and sort of put your money where your mouth is, and that's what they have done. They have taken it one step further. We're finishing up, we're putting the finishing touches on the term sheets and those types of formalities that have to go in place so that those monies could be available to be deployed soon. Well, New Haven Bank is getting ready to launch a couple of funds. Funds, to put it in layman's term, is a pool of money that you can use to invest in businesses. So we're getting ready to launch a SME, small, medium-sized enterprise fund. We're looking to start at $25 million. So investors can either invest through the fund. So if you're an investor outside of Guyana and you're looking to get into Guyana, you can invest in the fund, which in turn would invest in businesses. That's one way to do it. Or you can invest directly into businesses. Lots of people do it. You come into Guyana, you do your due diligence, you meet the locals, you find a local partner, and you invest. So there are two ways. As far as the bank is concerned, we're licensed. We do all of the KYCs and the due diligence and all of those types of things, and we offer a fair return in the investment. So the opportunities to invest through the bank would be through one of those funds. Well, I would say Guyana represents your best opportunity at this point in time. If you're in North America, The markets are very saturated. There's still probably some good investments there. But if you're looking for what we call that hockey stick return, where you could invest today and expect a exponential growth at a rapid pace, there's no place other than Guyana. I just cited the growth rate. It's about between 35 and 40% per year. There is no country growing like that. If you're a member of the diaspora, what better than investing in your own country, you know? And like I said, there are several ways to do it. You know, there's a saying in Guyana, money's not circulating. Well, what you can formalize the concept of money circulating. And the way you do that is to come to financial institutions like us. You invest in the fund. That fund then invests in local businesses. So that money is in fact circulating.